My name is Sumit Jain, as you know, and I'm having a space called Technology with Sumit, where we are discuss about the new technologies and the technologies which every business in need, right? So as far as my experience is concerned, I'm having 17 years of experience in selling cybersecurity solutions. Then I started a company called Adviascent, which is a technology company where we provide cybersecurity and email security solutions. We started this company in 2014, and we have around 200 plus customers where we are selling 30 plus IT security solutions. I'm also like working as an email consultant for various companies where we provide email consultancy for the best email practices which corporates can use, and I also do sales coaching for number of people. So these are the few photographs from the sessions which I have taken from different things. Like there are BNI sessions, there are Udan sessions where I'm a part of. So TWS is a technology with Sumit where we are taking care of about every technology if business is in need. So our topic of today's technology is about how you can reset and restart in the new normal. It is totally regarding the best HR practices which you can take during this particular unique situations. So for this particular HR related best practices, we have invited Mr. Vinay Dalal from the company called Talbrum, which is the HRMS solution provider, and he is the one of the like experienced person from the HR fraternity, and he has been the part of Reliance as well as Wipro and various other companies at the head position. His company called Talbrum is into HRMS solution where they provide solution which give you features from high to retire and from Excel to excellence. So before starting the presentation, or I would invite Mr. Vinay to speak about the HRMS solution, I want you people to go through a small survey, which will not be online, but I want you to go on this particular slide where you can go through these particular questions and you can think what are these questions all about, how these questions can help you for best practices in your company about the employee safety as well as themselves. I hope you are able to see my screen and you can see these questions on your window. So we will take you 60 seconds if you go through this particular slide and easily find out what would be the best practices at your workplace. I will read out for you, like, have you ensured employee health and safety? Do you have a checklist for this? So if you have an answer yes about this question, you can type yes in the chat box. Second question is about how should your office setup change to best implement social distancing? So if you have answer as yes about this particular question, you can also answer why for this particular question. Do you have the sources for regular supply of essentials like body temperature thermometer, mask, sanitizers, cleaning agents, gloves, etc.? Again, you can type yes if you have answer for this particular question, or no if you don't have this particular thing as of now in your workplace. Is your facilities management team trained to carry out fumigation, sanitization, and other critical activity as per the required schedule? Same, you can write yes on your chat box if you have answer for this. Have you updated your workplace policies, communicated, trained employees on the same? Have, have you revised and communicated norms of holding meetings in workplace, visitor policies, extra? Have you reviewed in-house essential services like catering, canteens, and food counters? Do you have the infrastructure to support work from home? Have you ensured the employees working from home have the required systems, technology, and equipment? Going forward, would you require national, international logistics support as sourcing large quantities may need trusted partners? I hope you've gone through this particular slide. I move on next slide, which will be related to your work and your workforce, not the workplace. It is regarding your workforce. Do you have the required HR setup to handle issues arising out of work from home situation? Have you ensured the maximizing the use of technology, work from home to attendance, salary, etc.? Have you reworked on your workforce numbers needed? Which employees would work from home and how would you choose them? Have you ensured properly defined communication channel within the organization to ensure there is no delay in responses, making decisions? Do you have an identified crisis management team in the organization? Do you have robust work from home policy along with equipment? How do you plan to train employees to adapt to the new work norms? How well does the existing organization structure support the new work norms? Have you worked on a productivity metrics for employees working from home? Are your leaders trained in dealing with the new leadership challenges arising out of working with remote teams? Have you ensured effective employee engagement programs to maximize productivity, recreating employee programs and events? Are you aware of the issues related to the employee's mental health? I hope you have gone through this particular slide. So I would love to invite now Mr. Vinay Dalal, who would be answering your questions and giving you a great insight about best HR practices for corporates in this particular unique situation. I would welcome Mr. Vinay Dalal to go on and take this
Thank,
presentation ahead.
thank you, Sumit.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks and welcome everybody. Let's discuss threadbare. There are a lot of ifs and buts and question marks in our mind, both as an employer as an employee. There'll be a lot of issues that you must be wondering what next. And this is welcome to the VUCA world. This VUCA, uh, this terminology was coined actually after all the terrorism acts that were happening in US and other places, and we realized that it's a volatile world. All of a sudden, there is something, and the things change. Now, in this volatile world, there are events which economists call as black swan events. Essentially, the swans are supposed to be white, but there could be a black swan event, which is like a disruption, which we really don't know as to why certain things happen, and we feel we are absolutely out of control. I mean, today, each one of us, whether we are employer, we are employee, whether we are students, whichever part of world we are, things were not in our control, and they never would be when there is a black swan event. 2008 it happened. Why 2008? Even Brexit was a black swan event, wherein people did not consider that coming. When even in Britain, when or rather UK, when the survey was done, they never expected this to happen. So what does a black swan event do? Is and it is defined as a black swan event only, is that you are not at all prepared for it, and all of a sudden you need to have an emergency response time. Now, each of the earlier events were selectively affecting us. This time, it is the entire world which got affected. And when the effect is on the entire world, the disruption has been true mammoth for any of us to understand. Now, we have in our HR, HR world, there is a COVID survey, there is a Pulse HR survey, which was done by a very famous HR person, Burson, and he spoke to many of the organizations, many of people who are in job and people who are offering jobs, employer as well as employee. And next slide, Sumit. This is exactly what they found. Sumit, next slide. So this is exactly what an employer was having in his mind. Now, please understand, when I say HR department, it is in smaller organization, it is management slash HR department. In bigger organizations, it could be HR department per se. But look at what are the problems that we all were facing. Look at the things that we had in our mind. And as an employer, that's the first thing that must be coming to you also. Now, nobody is talking about technology. Nobody is talking about economic slowdown. The first thing that is coming to our mind is health and well-being of our team members. What if I'm working from, say, an office where social distancing cannot be maintained? What if somebody had a COVID? What if the app that is there now showed that somebody in his close proximity has a COVID? What do I do? Do I switch off the entire office? Do I take a corner of it? What is it? How should my response be? The second most important thing that the employers found out was, how do I manage my remote work? Essentially, organizations did not plan for it. Essentially, the organizations were confused when to start allowing people to work from home. What happens is, uh, there is nothing that is new that has come by. If I were to say manufacturing 4.0, manufacturing 4.0 was nothing but implementation of artificial intelligence and machine learning in the manufacturing environment, and therefore the jobs were supposed to, they were supposed to reinvent themselves. So earlier, if within 3,000 square feet of a floor, you had something like 25 employees, all of a sudden you will find one person and there was a robot to supposed to work. So that was artificial intelligence, machine learning at play. 2017, we were talking about, remote working was not considered an option for quite some time. Remote working was supposed to be for people who were not active, and therefore they would lose out on promotion. They had done it because of certain limitations that, I had to work. So IBM, when they had 3.5 lakh workforce, they said only 5% were working from home. Today, if you see, the scenario has completely changed. And if you're reading across, nobody is sure as to what is going to happen in the next 6 months, 1 year time frame. So if you take a Google, if you take a Facebook, if you take a Snapchat, if you take any of these, even Microsoft, they are saying till 2021, we are giving a free a choice to an employee to work from home. Now, what is that would be the most challenging part? Work from home was told by Peter Drucker way back in 1992, and nobody took it seriously. He's a management guru, Peter Drucker, and he had said that, commuting would probably collapse. And today, commuting has collapsed, but there have been challenges. The challenges have been how to manage it, how to manage technology, how to manage, the security of data. All those challenges would be there. The next is jobs and continuity. Uh, uh, Sumit, just put it on the slideshow, please. PPS. Yeah, jobs and continuity. So jobs and continuity, we all are aware. I mean, just yesterday we read that probably all our childhood we were associated with something called as an Atlas cycle, and that Atlas cycle, the factory closed down yesterday, and we'll no longer have an Atlas cycle. We all probably were accustomed now to so many things on so many superstores way in US, and now you hear then many of them are closing down. So a lot of changes were coming as it is because of e-commerce industry, and this seems to be the last straw. So would my job be there? Would continuity be there? Or have I become, would losing a job become a stigma? So 2003, I can tell you what, 2003, 4, 5, when we were doing national and international hiring within Reliance Retail, the natural question, if I would see a job break was, kuch to gadbad hai, something is wrong. Either there have been an integrity issue or there have been a performance issue. Then the person is not required. But today, if we see, or any of us would see a break in the resume, we'll say, okay, he was probably impacted by 2008 slowdown, or he has been impacted by 2020 uncertainty by whatever the circumstances they are. So jobs and continuity may actually change shape. And when jobs would change shape, we would be working towards a gig economy. It is like this, that you may not buy a car and you may want to work, you may want to be on a Ola or Uber. Now, currently we are not doing that, and they are taking precautions and doing that. But over a period of time, you may find that some of the resources you may want to have them full time, that it is okay to have them half time. And the employee would say, okay, I would probably rather increase my earning potential and work half time somewhere else. So this is a part of gig economy. That's the future that is going to be. Last but not the least, mental health. And a lot of researchers are now coming out that where work and home have now probably become one, where working from home, your home becomes office. How do I take care of the stress? So earlier it was, we first few days of the lockdown, we all were happy. We had never found time for the family. When we had gone into some kind of creative mode. But later, the second phase of it, all of a sudden there was a withdrawal. All of a sudden we found that each one of us became nervous or depressed about how long it would continue. So there were phases, and mental health has to be taken care of, and uncertainty has to be taken care of. Next slide, Sumit. So essentially, I divided into 3 points. What are the work area? I mean, what is it that HR or top admin? Most of us, when I say HR, in organizations which are less than 1,000 people, it is management as well as HR, because all jointly decisions are taken. So we have classified into 3 areas. One is the workplace, the place where you work. One is your work, and one is your people. So we'll handle all these 3 in the coming slides. Yeah, next slide. So when I'm talking about workplace, now you have heard about it enough, and therefore I'll quickly go through it. But I still wanted you to have a mental note of it. There are a lot of things which we read and we feel, okay, sanitization, nothing new. But sanitization has to be done between the shifts also. Sanitization has to be done by people who know how to sanitize. So you'll have to probably train your teams in-house to do the sanitization process, and you'll have to do it between the shifts. You'll have to probably do it at the end of the day, and you'll have to genuinely take care of it. It is not about only verbal yes or no. It is about action, and it is at the ground level. Second is, you have to continuously keep a stock of masks, gloves, sanitizers, surface cleaners, and disinfectant. It shouldn't so happen that all of a sudden you find that you are running short of it. It may be criminal, and it may end up into lot of complications if something happens. And there's a kind of, anything that we are doing today has a legal implication. The government is evolving every day. See a new set of guidelines. Sometimes these guidelines are enforceable as a part of law, and therefore punishable also. So in case you find something that is missing, and for some reason in your organization or as an employee something happens, you may find yourself on the other side of the law, and you may find them punishing you in ways which are criminal, against criminal action also. So we should actually ensure that the safety equipments are always there. Next. So now, this is the major thing that all of us, I mean, any office that you go, the seating arrangement has to change. So earlier we used to have these workstations which were almost like a silo. It was like a private cabin. And alongside we realized that this is only wasting space, and therefore we have to optimize space. Now again, you will find that the seating arrangement would drastically change. Remember, the organizations have to only fill in 33% or maximum 40% of their actual capacity. They have to fill in. So it would be important that you actually keep infrastructure in such a way that if somebody sneezes, his sneeze or his droplets do not travel to the other seat. Now that becomes extremely important when you're making the seating arrangement. So maybe you make L-shaped arrangements, maybe you make fiberglass partitions. All that has to start, and it has to start immediately. Even washrooms and other things, you'll have to probably replace them with sensors, because common washrooms are the biggest source of worry for most of these health professionals. So even the washrooms, you'll have to probably get intense sanitization would be required there. Now, as we come in, you already have seen infrared temperature meters, so that is there. Wearing right gears is important. Disposing of masks is another big issue which probably people are ignoring, and it is just being disposed here there. Please understand, it's a medical waste, and it has absolute probability of giving infection to somebody else. Therefore, this disposal has to be treated like a medical waste. And you probably need, earlier we had this waste, we had two baskets of wet and dry. Probably now you need for medical waste also, and give it separately whenever it is being collected. Last but not the least here, please don't get into that habit of controlling through biometric machine. Biometric machine in the present form is probably too risky to be used. You probably need a thermal sensor machine, or if you do not want to have lot of time money wasted on heavy end thermal sensors which may cost something like 60,000, 70,000 rupees, you may actually want to do it through your individual mobile phone. That your responsibility would get reduced. Individual phone would remain an individual phone. Therefore, attendance and other things can be done through mobile app. Next, next slide. Yeah. Now, as we have been hearing, air conditioners are one of the biggest reasons why this virus is spreading. If it was a China, they had probably mandated that air conditioners would not be used, and it was a punishment to anybody who was using air conditioner. In our case, we probably would have to get into a certain kind of self-discipline, wherein air conditioners have to be disinfected almost daily. Now, frequent cleaning of furnitures, we know that. Visual graphic display, now that is very important. Many times, there is a way in which we have led our life, and it would be very difficult for us to all of a sudden change. Social distancing, for one, if you see 10 out of 10 cases, after 2 hours, the social distancing would go away. People would still start talking within groups. People would still start going to the end coffee shop or wherever your machine is. They'll start talking to each other. That is exactly why visual and graphic display reminders would act handy. People would remember that something is there. We have to remind them. You cannot polish them all the time, and therefore visual and graphic display with sufficient, red color would probably give them an alternative or probably a reminder. Next slide. So this is what we need to do. This is just a summary of whatever we are saying, that you have to maintain social distancing norms of 6 feet, come what may. Your lunchtime has to be staggered. Your lunchtime has to be staggered so that at the same place where 10 people were sitting, at any point in time, 4 would be sitting. So if you you have to start your lunch earlier, it was like between 1 to 2, everybody would have it. I'm talking about office. So now you'd probably have to stagger it between 1 to 3, wherein in groups of 10, 15 at a distance, people can sit and have the food. Shift timings, you cannot overlap shift timings. Between two shifts, you'll have to compulsorily, you'll have to keep a time for sanitization of the place. Obviously, you have to use face masks and sanitizers, as much of hand wash, meeting protocols. Now, all of us have been very, very fond of meeting people personally. That is somewhere, that gives that confidence whenever you are buying a product or something. It is like, in spite of all the e-commerce websites, you still go out in a mall and check for a shirt or check for a dress and only then buy. And that has been a natural, that's a natural reaction to our trying to meet people face to face, and that has to go away. We have to, until unless it is not unavoidable, we have to arrange virtual meetings. Say somebody like a car showroom person, or somebody like a car servicing person probably would have to meet, uh, uh, that they'll have to have a physical interaction. But otherwise, physical interactions, wherever avoidable, should be avoided. Most importantly, visitors would come, and visitors would be a heavy risk They would be at risk, you would be at risk. So how are you trying to create a visitor chamber, or how are they meeting you, and what are the precautions you are taking? That is one thing that in an office you'll have to continuously monitor if you are owner of your own business or if you are from HR of any of the organizations. Visitor management would actually be your key, because ACs in the common areas you may want to keep it on, and how visitor is coming, how he has been monitored, what is it, what if he is silently carrying the disease, what are the precautions that you have to take. So you have to assume that every person that who has walked in has probably been impacted, and how you treat him and how you would act on it is how you would work in the office. Ditto for courier delivery. We have been reading cases even in Delhi, wherein one of these QSR, quick service restaurant person, was found impacting a lot of houses where he had gone because he was delivering. So you have to be very cautious about how delivery, courier delivery is happening. And last but not the least, what if you find somebody who's got impacted? Would you panic? Would you feel that you're a criminal? Would you just blame yourself and the organization? All of a sudden, would you close the entire organization? No, this is not what is required to be done. You'll have to take a pragmatic call. You'll have to write down a guideline that if somebody is found, these are the things I'll do. Maybe this particular part of the office I'll sanitize. Maybe these people who are in touch with him should be, they should be asked to go home, get themselves tested. Testing itself is a problem today. So getting an individual tested, the government does not have infrastructure. Private labs are too costly. At 4,500 rupees, you would not want everybody to be tested just like that. So what do? You probably create a proper insurance policy for them so that you are safe and the organization is safe. Otherwise, you'll end up into lots of cases from the employee side as to or the government side that you've not taken care of them. So a good insurance policy probably would be handy in current times. Next. So this is a part of the manual. You have to create that manual. Now comes the important part. And a lot of people, lot of my friends who are non-HR have asked me, how is it that we actually decide who has to come and who does not have to come? I keep telling them there'll be many who would want to come and they may not be required to come. Because a lot of these organizations, what happens is, it is also about how close I am to management. And my importance lies with the fact that if he is close to the management, he is supposed to be there. I have to be there because I am critical for the organization. Now these kind of scenarios have to be avoided. You have to categorically define that even at 60% of the work, if it can be done, then he has to be at home. Don't get into that loop of control. This old method of controlling the screen and therefore knowing that the person is working or not working probably may not work now, because from control you have to probably move towards creating. From controlling you have to move towards collaboration. As it is, he is working from home. As it is, his working hours have increased. uh, I mean, I was doing a survey of organizations in US, and what is that they are doing now? 30% work time has increased for people who are working from home. They are already working minimum 30% more, and that was reported also in the newspapers there, that 30% productivity has increased, not decreased, when people are working from home. But there'll be challenges. There'll be challenges if they have young, like if these are working professional, husband and wife are working. Earlier what would happen is they will probably leave the kid or the toddler at probably a crash. Now that crash facility is not there, the parents would not send them, and therefore it would be important that we give them time to manage their personal life also. Many a places when the situation would go normal and people would still work from home, just like when you're working on office at 6, 6:30, 7, whatever your office hours were, once you close your laptop, you switch yourself off. Today, that switching off is gone. And therefore, we have to work on it. And therefore, when you are deciding who has to work from home, who is the person who can come once a week, who is the person who can come monthly, all that you'll have to categorize. So you have to take every role, job role, not an individual. That is very important. You have to distinguish between what is that role versus that individual. You may like the individual, but that job role may actually be possible if somebody is working from home. Then you'll have to decide that who are the people who would be fixed. They'll have to come what may. A security person has to come what may. There could be flexible workers. You may want to make it alternate days. That you wanted to have, say, in software terminology, you needed to have somebody in the maintenance department. Then one can work from home and one can come from in office if that is required, extremely essential. Then one can be in office. So you can keep it flexible working hours. That somebody works on a particular day, somebody else works on another day. So that seat may not be fixed to an individual, it would be fixed to a role. Next slide. There could be few who are mobile workers. You already had your sales team who was probably not working out of your office any which way. They were going and meeting people. So there would be mobile workers who would be out of their office base meeting customers tomorrow when things go slightly normal. Already people have started meeting people, meeting clients. So all that would be there. So you'll have to define them and keep them handy as to whether their reporting has to be in the office back home or they can actually start from their home and at their home, and therefore the safety is there. And last, of course, we are talking of home workers, which we are saying that they can do their duties from home. Now, if I have to work from home, what are the things? Have I considered that there is a technology implication, there is a system implication, and there is a equipment implication? So we have lot of people struggling with getting, when the first phase of the lockdown happened, getting the laptops along with all the security measures to be put in their laptops and be sent to their home, because it came too suddenly. But now we are all prepared. We know that tomorrow again there could be a lockdown. Tomorrow again, if the cases increase, if things go really bad, if the hospital beds, if they are full of hospital bed are full of patients, then they actually may want to close down for restricting things again. So we are prepared now, and therefore you should be prepared as to what systems, what technology, and what equipment you have to give. You may find that the that somebody's network is not strong enough. So what are you doing? Are you creating a VPN for them? So there are certain challenges that we would always find, and there are certain work that would always happen, and you have to work on that as to what system, what technology, and what equipment you have to give to individuals. And most importantly, all of the time there'll be concerns. Most importantly, all of the time people are not accustomed to it. We call it new normal. We are resetting, we are relooking at the world. I really pity the people who have been, the millennial generation. So 2008, they may have found, their parents struggling with their jobs. To 2020, they are again seeing this. It has actually, one generation is probably would be very, very skeptical about everything that is happening around them, and there'll be a lot of psychological impact on people who have been active or were teenagers in early 2000s, and then they are into their workforce now. Each time and every time, every in last 20 years, they've seen too much of a VUCA world. So they would not be as trusting, and they would not be as happy-go-lucky as we were. I mean, people who were senior now or probably have 15, 20 years. So in early 90s, if somebody had started working, or mid 90s, if somebody had started working, we saw a very different world. And all of a sudden, the new generation is seeing a very different world. So you'll have to take their concerns as it is. This is generation whatever, X, Y, Z, whatever you call them. But this generation, their aspirations, their concerns would be very different from earlier concerns. For you, a mental health issue could be a very small issue. ऐसा होता है क्या? But mental health is now would probably be the biggest problem. You had one actress, Deepika Padukone, talking about it, and all of a sudden people would say, "Okay, where did this come from?" And then all of a sudden she highlighted. Now those kind of concerns you'll see coming up very heavily, because this generation is seeing, this younger generation is seeing lot lot of concerning situations all around them. The next point is training and guiding employee on productivity maximization in workflows. We know it. I mean, I keep on repeating probably at all the forums where I've spoken. I just say one thing: please get into, move out from controlling and get into creating. You cannot control in a work from home scenario. You just cannot. And the very idea of I can control through screen is not going to help anybody. It is not going to help an employee who would feel that his employer or her employer is actually spying on them all the time. Not a good thing to do. I mean, if you are making them work from home, you better trust them. If you are making them work from home, give them tasks, but don't monitor them in a closed fashion. You will have to give them time. They'll have to understand. They would do the work. You have to give them tasks. Let the task get finished. Give them reasonable amount of time, 9 hours, 10 hours, 11 hours, 12 hours. Give them a day's work and ask them to complete it before your next day meeting starts. Next slide. So you'll have to rework on your working hours. That love for working hours should go away. It should be replaced by a productivity matrix, and you should get it approved. It should not be that the manager doesn't know what the productivity matrix is all about. It should not be that the management doesn't know. All of you would probably form a triad and work on it, where all the things are clarified properly. What is the expectations is clearly spelled out. What is it that they need to do in 24 hours or their 9 hours whenever they have to work, or the work assignment has to be so proper that there is no confusion and the person doesn't feel straight. Employee, remember, would probably be feeling that I may lose job if I do not work. No, don't give them that kind of discomfort. Anything that they are doing, it has to be given in a time frame. A project basis attendance mechanism is what you'll need, rather than a time based attendance mechanism. And of course, as we say, communicate and communicate in these times. The best thing that senior management can do in these times is talk to everybody who's feeling. In fact, you should talk irrespective of the fact that a person has raised a flag or not. You should talk to them, give them confidence that their job is safe, or have the confidence that your job is safe. Talk to the senior management if they are not talking to you. Ask them what are the performance expectations, how is it that they can float together. Remember, an employer is also at constant stress. His expenses don't go away. I mean, irrespective of whatever people have been saying, the rentals are yet to be paid, the salaries are yet to be paid, but the income is dwindling. So they are also under constant stress. So talk it out together and stay afloat. It is important to know that there is as much money is there as in the bank or for salary disbursement, and therefore be humane both sides and talk out and understand each other's problem. So delivery, data confidentiality, conduct, all that has to be very, very formally drawn, so that there is no black swan within all the white swan that you would have. Next slide. We have already talked about it, and we'll discuss here in detail that a lot of these organizations that I have been talking about, including my organization, we never knew whether it would take 1 month, whether it would take 2 months, whether it would take 3 months, and still none of us are sure. If I have an end in sight, I can plan it better. But if I do not have an end in sight, then what would I do? Do I let go of people? Of course not. I mean, none of us during good times would like to let go of our good people. Letting go of good people is not a good solution until unless you are actually sinking, or until unless there is no other alternative. So letting go of people looks easy, but on the productivity count, it has a very severe impact. B, people who are wanting to leave jobs in such scenario, I have seen multiple times that when you leave in these bad times and take another job, that organization also may be as unstable as this organization. they may not be able to survive 6 months, 9 months, 1 year time frame. And when it's time to fire somebody, the first person that is fired is the last person who has walked in, because he did not get an opportunity to prove himself. Your older staff has proven himself. Their performance is known. If you are old, the same thing would happen for you. Your performance would be known. Don't take a hasty step of leaving a job in these hours. Wait for the storm to pass. Neither your organization nor the other organization would remain the same. Everybody has fundamentally changed now. It may take 7 8 years to take get into the older mode. It may take a lot of time. It may never be the same again, and therefore it is important that have a hold of good people or have a hold of good job. Don't be in a haste either ways to leave or to ask people to leave. The better idea would be to give them what is called furlough. I was reading a lot of criticism about furlough, that it is not there for people who are it is not an Indian system. It is not there in Indian labor laws. Of course, it is not. But labor laws are old and dated. They may be tomorrow. They may be changed. But what is important is to hold back. Maybe if you cannot afford them for full time, ask them to work half time, but give them their salary. Currently, everybody was back home, and they did not have to spend on clothes or spend on going to a mall. So a lot of expenses was saved, and therefore, if the organizations today are asking you to get a small reduction in salary, probably they have thought about it and they are wanting to stay put with you, as well as they do not want you to go also. So both ways you will have to consider these options, whether there will be temporary pay reduction. Tomorrow I was reading about it as to what organizations are doing. So there are a lot of people who are into stock options have said, okay, we reduce the salary, but we are compensating with stock options. So essentially, when the stock goes up, the person who's there now, ESOPs are there, employee stock options are there. So somebody asked me the other day, I got a call asking what is an ESOP. I hope most of you would be knowing what is an employee stock option. So if you had valued your organization, say at 1,000 rupees, and you issued 1,000 shares, then 1 rupee per share. So you can give them stock option. Tomorrow, when the going gets good, you may buy their share back, or they may sell the share to somebody else at a higher price. So whatever temporary loss they would have would probably be compensated tomorrow. So instead of straight away giving a pay reduction, you may think about a stock option to your critical employees. Remember, to your critical employees, people whom you really, really trust. Next slide, please. Now, that is very important. One thing that has given us an insight is that even at a government level, you saw that there was a lot of centralization with the central government in terms of decision making. But this time, in this crisis, there are a lot of state and center trying to talk together, talking multiple times. This has happened. Why this has happened is because crisis management cannot be handled by one person. Crisis management has to be handled by a team. And you have to create this crisis management, because these kind of events may keep on happening, and you need to have a team which can probably work in crisis management. Tomorrow, if somebody in your office, he or she had a COVID, you need to get into that crisis management. You need to talk to the crisis management team, because they are the people who would probably be handling it. Give them complete power. Let them handle an emergency situation. So you need to create a team which actually handles a emergency situation. We have to keep employees engaged productively and working on maximizing the outcomes through the work from home arrangements as earlier. We have already discussed how to keep them engaged, and engagement is not about just doing certain kind of games or other things. Engaged is truly engaged. Engaged is really caring for them. If they know that if there is a crisis, somebody can handle their issues, then they are good. They would actually remain engaged. So work-wise as well as personally, they should be engaged. What happened, say, in terms of crisis of all these workers who are going back, that crisis were because They were not engaged. They were not engaged. They were not taken care of. Whether it was their employers or whether it was government, whosoever, we did not engage them. We did not take care of their basic needs, and therefore this crisis came about. Probably more than COVID, that crisis is going to haunt India for next 6 to 8 months, where people, until and unless they would be absolutely, they'll have no alternative but to come back. Only then they'll come back. Otherwise, they are not going to come back. What we have seen is a human tragedy of humongous order, and therefore the impact on the industry is not going to go away anytime soon. I hear some heart-wrenching stories about everything, and therefore engaging with people. I mean, you may have a maid servant at home. Just think about it. How many times you have called him or her during last 3 months as to if there is a well-being, if they needed food or something. And if you have done that, you're doing a good job. If you have not done that, probably feel slightly guilty about it. That you have not been able to engage that lowest common denominator of our social system. And therefore, you would probably not be doing it with even your employees. We need to do that. We need to take care of their issues. We need to help them, whether it is their family could be somewhere there in Bihar or UP. Have we helped them out in some way? That is exactly how you keep them engaged socially, and work wise you have to get them in terms of giving them job security. Now, one thing that we all heard is succession planning. We all were fans. I mean, any big organization you go, and I would have done these exercises multiple times. What if X person leaves? Would the Y person be good enough to handle that situation? And this is the time that that entire plan has gone burst. What if person X, person Y, person Z was impacted by COVID? And then who's the critical backup? It is like this. If assuming you had COVID and you thought, okay, maybe I mean the thoughts come negative, and I say, okay, what if I'm not there? Who'll take care of my family? So something like this. If I am not well, who'll take care of my work? So what are the critical roles? Is that succession planning exercise that you did as an employee or as an employer, is it really on ground? Did it turn out to be as successful as you thought it would be? Probably not. Lot of us found that succession planning was actually not working out as well as we thought, because there were multiple factors. So you'll have to create temporary succession plans. You'll have to create roles when in a person can simply take that role, the critical role in times of need. Next slide, please. Yeah, we have discussed this quite heavily. Please remember, they'll burn out. Please remember, don't call up at 11 o'clock night, or I've seen customers doing it also. Anytime, any point in time. So we have a person who is at night shift. Any problem comes, they'll call us at night shift. Earlier, those they would honor that. Now at 1 o'clock, they feel that they have the right because the working hours seems to be 24 hours now. Now that is where it is creating pressure on employees. It is where burnout would come. It is where people would feel the worthlessness of working from home, and they'll say, no, no, it's the office hi acha hai. At least I am back home. So we'll have to protect our employees from burnout. We'll have to create a lot of importance for their health, the mental health, as we are talking about. Lot of work has to be done on mental health. You'll need to, really, really get into it. You will need to really think about it, that there would be phases, there will be mood swing, there'll be productivity loss. All that you will have to take in your stride and work on the health of your employees in whichever way you can. Next slide, please. Sumit, next slide. Yeah. So before that, just one. Yeah. So survival of any organization depends on healthy employees. We know that nobody more than us knows that if the employee is not healthy in whichever way, we are in a problem. So healthy employee is what you need. Mentally agile employee is what you need. And therefore, it's a two-way street. You just cannot expect them to be healthy and you not doing anything. And they cannot expect the organization would do everything and they would not do anything. So both ways we'll have to say that it's a two-way street, and we'll have to really work on their health. And you would take care of the your kids, or your if you have a pet, the way you take care of them, and you take care of every smaller and bigger things, those finer things of life would now probably come into prominence. Those things which you never discussed with your employees would now take a prominence. A maid not coming is a problem big enough, and that you'll have to consider it. Earlier you would say, no, that is your problem, who cares? For me, a person who works in the office for 12 hours is more important. No, now that maid not coming, what is the impact on the person? What is it that he is handling? All those smaller things, the finer details of life, would all of a sudden take a front seat. Earlier, nobody discussed those issues. Now everybody is discussing that issue. Earlier, nobody would say that I would be working from home and helping and doing this. Today, everybody talks about it. A few days back, even personally, my son had a haircut which was horrible. But then it was okay. I still went to all the meetings without a problem. I told them that with pride. I said, it is my son who did it, and everybody accepted it the way I was. So essentially, what I'm trying to say is that mental health is important. How they are doing it, what are the challenges? Let's talk to them. Let's understand their issues and talk about their well-being. Burnout is something that we all were struggling with. It is not that we were not struggling earlier. It is not that the economy was in great shape. It is not that we were having that golden time of 2003 to 2007 when everybody was growing and everything was growing. And if you did not change job then and did not take within 2 years your salary, or 3 years your salary didn't get doubled, you were not good enough. So I've seen those days. From there to now, in last 4 5 years, or rather 10 years, we have seen 2008 onward, there's been a successive dropout in terms of returns, the monetary return that organizations are giving, which is fair. So we'll have to take care of it. We'll have to work on the burnout because everybody was working very hard, and we'll have to take care of that bit, the burnout bit, heavily. Next slide, please. So these are the recommendations that I would like to give to everybody. Show that as a leader what you can do. As a leader, as management, or as a HR person, what is it that you do is how you would be measured. One, did you yourself become too negative, too tentative? You became so engrossed that people would say, as a leader, he could not lead us. In that case, we have a problem. We need to be very clear that yes, this is the problem, this is the solution. So as a leader, you have to set yourself up, you have to stand up for that, and you have to work on it accordingly. You just cannot otherwise work on this. Empathize and listen. We have already discussed that. Listen to as many employees, listen to them. Their smaller things also matter. Next, connect and communicate. Talk of technology, connect and communicate as much as possible. Acknowledge and understand what they are saying. Create a helpline. That would be important. Try and create a helpline where they can talk to anybody related to mental health. Maybe you can create an external agency for that. Engage employees in online training sessions. Give them as much training, allow them to learn as much as possible in these times. Next. So these are employees, what they were thinking. They were talking about financial security, health and well-being, family, productivity, and work. So on the other side of the table, we were seeing what employers were thinking. On this side, it is what employees are thinking. We have discussed that all of this. So we'll just go through the slide faster now. So the majority had a problem of financial security. Now, 2008 crisis were all about CFOs. Chief financial officers of the organization were the hero. This is the time for management and HR leaders to become a superhero. Next slide, please. So this is the offer that Sumit said. What is it that you can give to my group? This is the offer that we have. We can give free usage of Telbrum till March 31st, including timesheet and other things, wherein you can probably get into productivity, get into creating rather than controlling, and you can have mobile solutions also. So till March 31st, it would be free for organizations which have 10 people or less. We are there to support you. Next. So this is about us, and this is about the presentation. Any questions, feel free to ask.
Thank you, Vinay. Thank you, Vinay. Okay, so we are going to end this meeting now. Thank you, Vinay, for the joining in, for your great insight about the HR best practices given to my viewers, my audience, my members of the group. So it will really great to meet you as of now. So we will definitely get in touch with you for the future sessions.
Thank you.
Vinay. Thank you, Vinay.
It was a pleasure connecting. Thanks a ton.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone.